Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Race number 11 of Season 3 of the Duracell Cup Series rolls into Texas Motor Speedway. Everything's bigger in Texas as we get set for 51 laps of racing. R Brommer's going to line up on the pole position for today's event. Brommer, of course, trying to complete the sweep of having both of the Dodge drivers out of Bulldog Motorsports go into victory lane. His teammate Zach Rogers did it a few weeks ago at Springfield. Brommer and Rogers, not forget, both made it into the Final Four for the championship last year at Homestead, Miami. But Brommer is still looking for his first win of the year. He's 11th in the points coming to this race, so he's had a very consistent start to the season nonetheless. Alongside of him, our winner from Las Vegas, J Thibodeaux. Now, obviously, we've been documenting the hardships he's had the last few weeks at Springfield, at Pucaca, at Michigan. Well, last week was a little bit of a bright light. He got a good run, a good finish at Pikes Peak. The only problem is it only moved him from 39th up to 38th in points. The other bad news for him is he is still a total of 39 points behind 30th in the standings. So he's still got a long ways to go, but good starting track position here this evening on the outside of the front row. Michael Norman's going to roll off from the third position. Michael's still looking for his first win on the year. Michael, the last couple of weeks, has actually been upping his performance. He's now back up into the 24th position in points, and this is a guy that at one point was outside the top 30 in the standings. And T Wright also trying to get his season turned around. He is 39th in the points coming into this one. Last week, though, had a good outing at Pikes Peak. He had a good run the week before at Michigan, so looks like maybe they might be getting that team turned around as well. Let's go down trackside, get those most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
Now, we only have one of our two defending winners in this field here today. Last season, Season 2, Texas was the 11th race on the year. That race was won by M McIntire. Back in Season 1, though, it was the 21st race of the season, right in the middle of the second half of the regular season. Defending winner of that event, the guy who comes into this race, the points leader, Zach Rogers. He has an 11-point lead over Benny Watson. William Brock currently sits in third. He is 24 points back. Fourth in the standings is Dylan Young, who is now the first two-time winner on the season, taking the checkered flag last week at Pikes Peak, following up his win at Manassas earlier on this season. He's 28 points back overall. Patrick Smith, the rookie points leader, is fifth in the points. He is 38 points back to Zach Rogers. Rest of your top 10, Cole Deaver, who had an unbelievable top 5 last week at Pikes Peak, is 6th. Jose Millz is 7th. Levi McIntyre 8th. Jack Mitchell in 9th. And Cody Llamas completes your top 10. Right now, Rogers and Young are the only two previous winners up inside the top 10 in the points. You got James Qualls, he's in 12th. Carter Friesen's in 19th. Nathan Hudson 21st. Charles Sandfer in 23rd. Carson Gum in 25th. Two drivers you got to keep an eye on tonight. Not only J Thibodeaux, but Nathan Ormond, after a poor performance last week, dead last at Pikes Peak, is now 32nd in points, so he's outside the top 30. Our Bristol winner needs good runs to get back in the top 30 in points for his win to count towards a playoff position. But here we go, no limits at Texas Motor Speedway. Let's roll! Brommer clears for the lead, moves up to the top side, but that opens up the door down low for Michael Norman to make a move into turn 3. 183 miles per hour into turn 3. One of the fastest speedways on the circuit. And now Norman's going to get the lap-led bonus point. Looks like K Mathews now sticks it down to the inside. Looks like we're going to have a lot of lead changes here this evening. Austin LaPlante's going to move into second place. M Saatchi, who had a top 5 run, finished, I believe it was third last week at Pikes Peak. Now going to challenge him for second place, as Mathews will hold on to the top position. K Mathews, 13th in the points coming into this one. He is the second highest of the S3 Motorsports cars in the standings, next to rookie Cole Deaver. Kind of had an up and down season, especially the last couple of weeks. He struggled at Pucaca, but he had a good run at Michigan. He had a solid outing at Springfield, and then last week at Pikes Peak finished way down in the running order. Saatchi now to the position. looking for his second career victory, but first of the season. He won as a rookie last year at the road course of Lime Rock, as now Jesse Turner goes to the bottom. Matthew Rodriguez going to follow in his tire tracks, along with Carter Friesen and Mitchell Collins. Trying to think if we've got any hometown drivers in the field, and off the top of my head, I don't think so. It's not that I can think of. As Turner now goes to the point. Last couple of weeks, Ford has really emerged. Dylan Young, a two-time winner on the season. We saw a 1-2 finish with Fords last week as Adam Garcia finished in second behind his teammate. And we're seeing a lot of Fords up here at the front early in this one, with Turner leading the way. Collins right now trying to hold off Cole Baker for second. And all three of those guys that I just mentioned, Turner, Collins, Baker, boy, they could use good runs here tonight. Turner comes into this race 35th, Baker in 36th, Collins in 34th. And right now they're all up here towards the front of the field. 3 wide. Austin Kolano, the rookie, going to stick it down to the inside on both Baker and Collins. He's going to move into the second position. We've already had 3 rookies go to victory lane this season. Ormond, Hudson, and Thibodeaux. Kolano, along with Patrick Smith right behind him, would love to add their name to that list. Boy, they're racing really good up at the front for the lead, but they're also racing pretty good back here. I think there might be a wreck back further. I heard some scraping. Caution is out. First caution of the day as Kolano took the lead from Turner, and he's going to lead us back to our first caution of the evening on lap 7. Couldn't see the wreck. It was back further in the field, but I could hear the scraping and saw the yellow lights on, so first caution of the night. This was on the back straightaway. Looks like somebody may have gone down to that inside wall, and they came back and hit the outside wall as well, heading towards the turn 3 entrance. I don't think we'll see anybody on pit road just yet. This was a pretty early yellow flag, and I think if you come to pit road, especially up at the front, you're giving up a lot of track position unnecessarily, because I think you'd have to come to pit road anyway, at least one more time before this race is over. And Carson Gum, Daytona 500 winner, is the reason for this yellow flag. 25th in the points coming into this one, only 11 points ahead of the 30th in the standings cut line. Last week's winner, Dylan Young's back here, along with J Qualls, who won a few weeks ago at Pukekohe. Defending champion back here as well. And Ryan Acosta and Michael Norman, who started in the 3rd position for this race, now at the back as well. So some of them might have either been innocent bystanders or may have been the ones that hooked Carson Gum around, but that is not good for the Daytona 500 winner to start out this race. As a matter of fact, that just put me in mind. Yes, Carson Gum, this is a home track for him. He is a Texas native. And that's not the way he wanted the race at his home track to start out. Let's go back and see what happened to him, bringing out our first caution of the evening at Texas. Well, they tried 4 wide into turns 1 and 2. That's Vince Almariego on the bottom. Carson Gum, Cole Deaver, Michael Norman, part of that 4 wide situation. You can just see right here, there's just not enough room when everybody accordions up off of turn 2 onto the straightaway. Hard hit for Almariego and Deaver, and Carson Gum's car goes up and onto its roof. That's 2 Backmarker Motorsports cars involved right there, and Deaver, who had a great run last week at Pikes Peak, certainly not what he was looking for. And look at that 19 still continue to flip and barrel roll all the way over into turn 3. And I don't think the barrel rolls are done. The progressive banking here, that car just going to continue to tumble down to the apron. Oh my goodness. Well, mentioned the speed that these drivers were carrying into the corner. High speeds lead to high voltage wrecks. And case in point right there, Exhibit A. That's going to take Vince Almariego out of this race for sure. Don't know if Cole Deaver is going to be able to continue. And no doubt, Daytona 500 winner Carson Gum's day is going to come to a very early end. And more importantly for him, his gap, his points gap between himself and 30th in the standings could be very minute heading into next week. The green flag will come back out on lap 12 of 51. All three drivers involved in the incident we saw, Deaver, Gum, and Almariego, are all going to finish out of the race. The good news, maybe if there is good news for Carson Gum, is he's not going to finish dead last, so he at least gains a point on Vince Almariego with finishing in 39th. That's a tough break there for Almariego. He's, the last couple of weeks, really struggled. He was up in the top 10 in points about 3 weeks ago. Came into this race 16th, had lost 7 spots last week at Pike Peak, and he's going to lose even more here tonight. And Cole Deaver, talk about a momentum killer. Boy, he's, the last couple of weeks, been really, really good. He had a great run at Pukaka. I can't remember where he finished at Michigan, but last week had that 4th place finish at Pikes Peak. Came into this race 6th in the overall point standings. As a matter of fact, he was also starting to close in the gap between himself and Patrick Smith for the rookie points lead. It was only 3-point separation between Smith and Deaver coming into this one. But with Deaver out of the race and Patrick Smith running right now in the 2nd position, looks like that gap is going to increase. Kolano's going to be the leader, leading us back to green over Smith. Turner lines up in 3rd. Johnny Gardner up here in 4th with Jose Millz in 5th. Then it's Watson, Lopes, Friesen, Mitchell, and LaPlante as the green flag is back in the air on lap 12. Johnny Gardner got kicked up to the outside line. He's starting to lose some spots as now Patrick Smith crosses to the inside for the race lead on Kolano. See that bright powder blue number 75 of Benny Watson. Last week, he finished quite a number of positions ahead of Zach Rogers. Gained 8 points on him. He's only 11 points back behind Rogers coming into this race, and trying to continue to chip back away at running Zach Rogers down for the overall points lead. Fords all on that inside line right now. You got Turner, Millz, and Lopes. Jose Millz, the most winningest driver in the Duracell Cup Series, still looking for his first win on the year. As Turner out in front in that Air Force Mustang. His teammate not too far back, Phil Parker, the other entry out of Lake Effect Autosport. Last time by crossed in the 8th position as they're going to go 3 wide for 2nd place. Lopes to the bottom, puts teammate Millz in the middle. Patrick Smith way up on the top side. He'll tuck back in front of fellow Toyota Benny Watson. Now we got a bit of a split back here as well. They're double wide in this first group, and then they're 3 wide in this group. Ryan Brommer is going to get away from this. Matthew Rodriguez, Cody Llamas, points leader Zach Rogers in the middle of all this. Last week's runner-up finisher Adam Garcia's in this, along with Charles Sandfer. And there's Thibodeaux in the 33 car, started on the outside of the front row, right now all the way back in the 25th position. Back up towards the front, they're 3 wide again. Oh man, that makes me nervous every time because the turns are a lot wider than the straightaways. So everybody kind of squeezes. It's all like they're all trying to fit into a small little space when they all then exit out of the corner onto these straightaways. And that's what led to our first wreck. That 4 wide situation would have worked had the straightaway been wider. The turns were able to hold him 4 wide, but the straightaway can just barely hold him 3 wide. It's kind of built more for them to be double wide, so they basically have to settle out their respective battles in the turns before they get to the exit of the corner. Nathan Ormond, that dead last finish last week, dropped him out of the top 30 in the standings. Good run here tonight to counter that as he'll take 2nd place away from Jack Mitchell. 32nd in the points coming into this race, 17 points behind 30th in the standings. So a well-needed performance, at least right now, for our Bristol winner. And boy, they all the way back here are 3 wide coming off turn 2, and each time it makes me nervous. Jack Mitchell's going to clear for 3rd. He's now going to try and run down Ormond for 2nd place. Ormond's going to try and go for the lead. Got a nice run down the straightaway, a nice draft, and puts it down to the bottom. Turner trying to hold him off on the top side, but I don't know how long he'll be able to do that for. Benny Watson and Marcus Saatchi almost looked like they were in a 2-car tandem. They drafted back up to these top 3. Carter Friesen now up in the mix as well in the 37. Carter Friesen had a decent outing last week at Pikes Peak, which moved him up to 19th in points. Our Atlanta winner. So Carter Friesen is the only driver this season that has won a race at a D-shaped mile-and-a-half racetrack. So obviously you got to look at him as a possible favorite coming into tonight's race. As Ormond leads the way, Jack Mitchell there in second. Mitchell was a contender in the first half of last week's Pikes Peak race for a chance to being another driver to get his first career win. But he faded back in the closing stages of that race. Now trying to see if he can bounce back here today. He did, however, have a decent enough finish that it moved him back up into the top 10 in points. He gained 6 spots, moved from 15th up to 9th. So the consistency is still there for the driver out of JM01 Motorsports. Jesse Turner has reeled the top 2 back in again, though. Trying to get back to the front. M Saatchi now in the 4th position. You got Benny Watson and Carter Friesen, a couple of good friends there in 5th and 6th. And the pole sitter R Brommer kind of faded back. Now he's fighting his way back to the front, trying to get by Austin Kolano. That is a battle for 7th. 3 wide back there as Mitchell Collins kicked up to the extreme outside line. That was Phil Parker and Jordan Lopez that put him 3 wide. Johnny Gardner working his way back up to the front. Gardner looking for his first win on the season, 2nd of his career. He won at Dover last season, a track that we're going to be going to pretty soon, I think. Phil Parker running a very high line there through turns 1 and 2, through 3 and 4 rather, and I don't think that's going to gain him much. There's not much grip up in that upper groove. If you're going to get any kind of a run, you kind of have to do what Mitchell's doing right there. Continue running in the dark gray and almost kind of pinch the car on the inside down. Mitchell is going to clear, keep the 3rd position. M Saatchi now goes to defending 4th place from Benny Watson and Carter Friesen. As up front, Jesse Turner all over the back bumper of the 41, looking for the race lead. Jesse Turner, believe it or not, I'm actually looking right now at the statistics. He is the only driver, 10 races in, the only driver in the entire field that has still not scored a top 10 finish. Everybody else has. So obviously Turner feeling the pressure, 35th in the overall standings. And if I recall correctly, I'd have to look back, but I believe he's made the playoffs the last 2 seasons. M Saatchi just got around Jack Mitchell for 3rd place, begins pulling away with that position. Saatchi had a good long run car last week at Pikes Peak. We'll see what he's got here tonight at Texas. Looks like he is visibly closing in on the top 2. That last time by less than 4/10 of a second between the 41 and the 21. You've got Turner right there in the middle of it. Ooh, we saw right there, I think Turner may have brushed the wall going into 3. Car kind of jutted out. So now the question is, when do these drivers come to pit road? The last 2 weeks, green flag pit stops have really been the deciding factor into who wins the race. You go back to Michigan, William Brock dominated that race until the green flag pit stops began. Nathan Hudson, after the pit stops were complete, was the race leader, and he led all the way to the checkered flag. You go back to last week. Jack Mitchell was leading a good portion. I think it was him and William Brock that were battling for the race lead. Mitchell took the lead. When the pit stop cycles began, a caution came out right in the middle of the green flag pit stops. Dylan Young inherited the race lead as a result, and he never looked back. These drivers are all shooting, I think, for around lap 30 to 35. At this point, we are past the halfway point. We had the aid of that yellow flag, but I think that even at this point now, the fuel window is open, that if they so chose, they could come to pit road, make their pit stop, and be good to go on fuel the rest of the way. It's going to be 21 laps to go when either Ormond or Turner hit the line next time by. I say that because it looks like Turner very anxious to try and get around the leaf filter Toyota Camry. Good battling going on for third place on back. Mitchell still holds the spot. Marcus Saatchi there. You got rookie Austin Kolano, another rookie in Phil Parker. Pulls it to Ryan Brommer, trying to go coast to coast. Benny Watson there as well. Watson came into this race 11 points behind Zach Rogers. Neither Watson nor Rogers have led a lap today, so right now, in order to take the points lead back, Benny Watson would need to finish 12 positions ahead of Rogers, and pit stops. Phil Parker is coming to pit road. His teammate Jesse Turner came to pit road as well. Friesen is in. Johnny Gardner, Matt Haas, Matthew Rodriguez, Dylan Young, Trey Wright, Austin LaPlante, Cole Baker, and Kyle Mathews all in on this lap. So here it is, the money stop. So we'll actually wait till the pit stop cycle around to see if Benny Watson is at least 12 positions ahead of Zach Rogers, as Orman's going to give up the lead. He's coming to pit road. Mitchell's coming in as well. A couple of cars are staying out, including the 81 of Austin Kolano, Patrick Smith, Levi McIntyre, Charles Belding, and others is staying out that extra lap. Going to gain them anything? We'll see. Kolano, is he going to pit this time? Looks like he will. Patrick Smith, the rookie points leader, is going to come in as well. Levi McIntyre, Charles Belding, and Keith Batson, they all stayed out. So did Ryan Butcher, Cody Llamas, and Aaron Macklin. They're all in, so the two Auto Junction Racing cars, the two KB Racing Enterprises cars, they all stayed out an extra lap. And now it's the question of who does the race lead cycle around to. There's Ormond coming off pit road. And the 47 of Turner is down the back straightaway, closing in quickly. So I think right here is your battle for the race lead. And Turner with the momentum, swinging around the outside. He's going to take the race lead back from Nathan Ormond. Now we're racing to the checkers, unless a yellow flag comes out in between now and then. 81 of Austin Kolano, is he going to be able to get out? I don't think he's got enough momentum. Turner's going to swing around his outside as well, I think, through 3 and 4. Oh yeah, easily. So Turner will go to the point. Orman's going to move into second. Looks like Kolano may slot into third. Mitchell trying to hold off Saatchi for fourth. Won't be able to do it. So Saatchi's going to be fourth. Mitchell back to fifth. Brommer in sixth. Watson seventh. Matt Haas now moves up to 8th. Ninth's going to be Johnny Gardner, and Carter Friesen just dropped from 8th back to 10th through turns 1 and 2. 11th is going to be Patrick Smith. Matthew Rodriguez now in 12th. Jordan Lopez 13th. 14th Levi McIntyre. 15th William Brock. 16th Charles Belding. 17th is Jose Millz. 18th Adam Garcia. Ryan Acosta just moved into 19th. And Phil Parker just took 20th. 21st is Keith Batson. 22nd, Trey Wright. 23rd, Cole Baker. 24th, Mitchell Collins. 25th is Ryan Butcher. 26th, Jessica Shelton. 27th, Austin LaPlante. 28th, Cody Llamas. Completing the top 30 are Aaron Macklin and Nathan Hudson. Kyle Mathews in 31st. Dylan Young, two-time winner, back in 32nd. Charles Sandfer is 33rd. 34th, Michael Norman. 35th, Jacob Thibodeaux. So one good race, and now the bad luck's come back for the 33. Zach Rogers, the points leader, is all the way back in 36th, so I think we can safely say that Benny Watson is more than 12 positions ahead of Zach Rogers. 37th place right now is J Qualls. He's the last car on the lead lap, and he's just ahead of the race leaders. And then 38th, 39th, and 40th would be the 3 cars out of the race after our first and only caution to this point, Cole Deaver, Carson Gum, and Vince Almariego. So Qualls falls a lap down, leaving 36 cars on the lead lap, and that's something that I didn't think about, but it is something we kind of have to keep in mind, is the race leaders reeling in drivers at the tail end of the field. Zach Rogers would be the next one they would catch. Right now, he is just now exiting out of turn number 2. Race leaders are headed into the entrance of turn 1 as now Marcus Saatchi goes to the race lead. And with catching Qualls, that bunched everybody up. The entire top 10, you could throw a blanket over them. They're all here on the straightaway. As a matter of fact, you also have a couple of guys just outside the top 10. Carter Friesen 11th, Matthew Rodriguez 12th. You could also throw into this mix, as R Brommer, the pole sitter, will go back to the race lead. Getting close to 10 laps to go, and you got 12 cars up here in the hunt for the victory. I don't think any of them have gone to victory lane yet this season. No, they have not, so all of them are looking for their first win on the season. Turner moves down low, not only making a move on R Brommer for the lead, but blocking Benny Watson, who had thoughts about going low for second, maybe 3 wide for the race lead. So Turner goes back to the front. Watson now into second. Mitchell moves to third. Kolano into fourth. Nope, I apologize. There is a driver up here inside the top 10 that has won this season, Nathan Ormond. So that was my mistake. So he's got a shot of being a 2-time winner, joining Dylan Young in that regard. As at the line this time, 10 laps remaining at the Texas Motor Speedway. Kolano looks low on Mitchell. Mitchell looks low on Watson. They're going to be 3 wide for second. It's going to allow Turner to get away at least for a little bit. Watson losing a lot of positions. He just dropped from second back to 5th. As now Saatchi makes it 3 wide for second place. Puts Mitchell up topside. Look at Gardner back there 3 wide with Nathan Ormond and R Brommer. A lot of Toyotas up here in the closing stages. The 75, the 81, the 14, the 41, the 77. Camry has 2 wins on the season, one with J Qualls and one with Nathan Ormond. They'd love to have another one, as now Watson's going to look 3 wide for second. He's got R Brommer right behind him. Saatchi gets back to the throttle sooner, though, through the center of the corner. This all going on for second place behind Jesse Turner, who is loving it. But now it looks like Saatchi got some good forward momentum out of 4 on the straightaway. He's looking for the race lead, and I think they are closing in on the 6 of Zach Rogers. They're a little less than a straightaway behind him. Will he come into play in the closing stages? He's got a teammate up here in the top 3, the 9 of R Brommer. Would he be able to help him? Lead change. Saatchi clears off of 4. He goes to the point. Look at the big run by R Brommer down the front straightaway, though. He's going to at least get Turner for second. Might set his sights on Saatchi when we get to turn 3. See if we can make it back to the checkers without the caution coming out, too, because these guys are racing really aggressively up inside this top 10. Saatchi with about a car length and a half off of 4. Brommer, big run. Help from Turner, big draft. Brommer's going to look low in turn 1. Saatchi looks to close the door. Can't do it. He may have checked Brommer up, though. I think Brommer had to lift. And that's why Saatchi still holds the race lead out of 2. Turner crosses over for second. Benny Watson and Johnny Gardner right behind him as the pole sitter may find himself with no friends on that outside line. Saatchi continues to lead. Marcus Saatchi drove for Team Chevy Autosport last season as a rookie. Took a checkered flag at Lime Rock, now in a single car entry. Trying to take a checkered flag here at Texas. About 4.5 laps remaining. Brommer holding tough on that outside line. He'll keep the second position, it looks like. Now he sets his sights on Marcus Saatchi. He's going to get a good run on that top side down the front straightaway. Benny Watson looking low on Turner for third. It's like now as this run has gone on, that outside line has gained some momentum as Brommer crosses to the inside on Marcus Saatchi. Saw Brommer be able to hold off Turner. We saw Turner be able to hold off Watson on that outside line. Let's see if Saatchi can keep alongside Brommer with that outside line off turn 4. Brommer leads the lap. Here comes Turner with a big run. Will he stick it 3 wide? Not yet. He's going to try and clear Marcus Saatchi for second place as Brommer closes in on his teammate Zach Rogers. 36th. Last car on the lead lap. Will Rogers let the 9 car by and then try playing defense? Zach's already got a victory this season at Springfield. So he's looking like he's in good shape to make it into the playoffs. Will he help a teammate get a win to make it into the playoffs as well? 2 laps to go. Turner all over the back bumper of Ryan Brommer. Will he use the 6 as a pick? He will. He'll look to the inside of Brommer. Going into turn 3. He's there. Almost moved Brommer up the track. Brommer going to try and use the outside line. He'll hold him off at least for the moment. White flag in the air. 1 more lap to go. Ryan Brommer, Jesse Turner. That's going to be the battle for this win, potentially. M Saatchi trying to get into this mix. Let's see if Turner can get a good enough run down the back straightaway here. Trying to close in as Brommer. If he could move low on teammate Zach Rogers, that might block the inside line. Turner closing though. Will he make a move out of 4? Does he have enough time? Does he have enough racetrack? Off turn 4 for the final time. Turner looks, he's peeking, but not enough time. Ryan Brommer's gonna win here tonight at Texas. He goes coast to coast, pole to win, and Ryan Brommer, who was in the Final Four, runner-up for the championship last season, may have just locked himself up a spot in the playoffs this season in an attempt for ultimate redemption. And Zach Rogers remained on the lead lap. But Ryan Brommer will pick up his second top 5 of the season, his most important one so far this year. Came in 11th in the overall point standings and takes the checkered flag here tonight at the Texas Motor Speedway. So in the first 11 races of the season, both of the Bulldog Motorsports Dodges, who come into this race at a 38-2 deficit entry-wise, have both found victory lane. And last season, let's not forget, they both made the playoffs then and both made it into the Final Four. So that, I think, would be a big red flag for anybody now, seeing that both Dodge Challengers have won races, and both could be in the playoffs when we reach the end of the regular season. Ryan Brommer takes an extra victory lap around this 1.5-mile speedway. So he takes the checkered flag over Jesse Turner, M Saatchi in 3rd, Jack Mitchell 4th, Patrick Smith in 5th, Johnny Gardner 6th, Benny Watson. He finishes in 7th with Rogers finishing 36th. Benny Watson's going to take the points lead back over once again. Matthew Rodriguez in 8th, Austin Kolano 9th, and Charles Belding popping up there into the top 10 in the closing stages. Last couple of weeks, Belding's finishes have actually been really good, but he came into this race dead last in the points. We'll see where this positions him heading into next week. Carter Friesen will finish in 11th, William Brock in 12th. 13th for Matt Haas, Jose Mills in 14th. His teammate Levi McIntyre in 15th. Ryan Acosta was 16th. Nathan Ormond faded back quite a ways there in the closing stages to finish 17th. Mitchell Collins 18th. The rest of the top 20 were Keith Batson and Jordan Lopez. Look down through the remainder of the finishing results. We had 36 cars of the 37 finish on the lead lap. The only one that finished the lap down was James Qualls, our Pucaco winner. Dylan Young way down there in 35th. Look at all these former winners down there in the finishing results. Sandfer, our ISM winner, in 32nd. Thibodeaux, our Las Vegas winner, 34th. Dylan Young, 2-time winner, 35th. Our Springfield winner, Zach Rogers, 35th. Our Pucaco winner, James Qualls, in 37th. And, of course, the big one right there, Carson Gum, DNF'd from this race. The hometown boy, 39th. And he came into this race a mere 11 points ahead of the 30th in the standings cut line. So that could be very interesting for him in terms of whether he'll be in the top 30 in points heading into next week or not. And obviously Cole Deaver and Vince Almariego were caught up in that wreck as well. They DNF'd in 38th and 40th respectively. But Ryan Brommer takes the checkered flag here this evening at the Texas Motor Speedway. So Dodge is actually 2 for 3 here at Texas as well, because Zach Rogers won this event back in Season 1. So the Challenger is obviously very good when you come to the Texas Motor Speedway. He will maybe lock himself up a spot with this win into the 16 playoff positions. We'll have to wait and see about that. Benny Watson's going to take the points lead overall into next week, which is going to be at the Lady in Black, the track Too Tough to Tame, Darlington Raceway. Now, I'm not certain if it's going to be the Throne of Games 400 this year or not. We're going to have to wait and see. I don't know if I'm going to have the time to be able to paint the cars or not. At this point in time, I think it still will be, but again, it's up in the air, so just going to have to wait till next week to find out if that is indeed going to be the case. But Darlington Raceway next on the schedule, and that always seems to be a wild race. Also comes down to pit strategy usually as well, and it came down to pit strategy here this evening at Texas. Hope you guys enjoyed tonight's Texas Motor Speedway race, though. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe, and come out with the crew today. We've shown full finish results. These are your point standings heading into next week at Darlington. Until then, I have been Seth Cole. You have been watching a production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best.